Hey YouTube, it's Drew! Yay! Today I'm going to be talking about things I believed when I was a kid. Number 1. I believed that people were made of ice cream, or they were different ice cream flavors based on their, it sounds very racist, it's like skin color and hair combination. So I would be vanilla with chocolate sauce. And that's weird, especially because I don't like ice cream that much. I know, I'm basically like a heretic, but I don't really like ice cream so much for cookies. But I would bite people because I wanted to see what they tasted like as their ice cream flavor. Oops. Number 2, I believed that people with really big butts could turn around and eat off them like a table. Like they could rotate their torso and just use that as like a shelf. What? I remember the exact moment I thought this too. I was in a stroller, being pushed in a stroller, and I looked up at this big boned woman, and I remember thinking, wow, that's so convenient to have that there. What am I? That's so weird. Number 3. Used to think that I had this fake little fireplace, one of those ones that doesn't have a chimney so you can't actually burn anything. So I had one of those, and there was kind of a crack around the frame of the fireplace, and I used to think that there were people living behind there. And I live in an apartment, so there actually were people living behind there, but not directly behind. But my brother and I used to think that if you slipped paper between the hole, it would fall down into this alternate universe, that there would be all these little people waiting for this letter from the gods, and we would give them the letter and say hey, what's up? Do you want to hang out sometime? And I'm sure that if they ripped out that fireplace, they would find a million letters from my little brother and I scrawling what's up? That was weird. 4? Are we on 4? I kind of lost track already. 4, I think. I used to think that adults could read your mind. I still have a theory. But every time I would think something mean, if I was angry at my brother and I was I want to punch him, blah blah blah, I would see an adult looking at me, and then I would be ponies, 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 over and over in my head, so that if they looked at me, they'd be confused and be oh, she's just thinking about ponies, but in my head I was I'm angry at my little brother. Number 5. There was that show Dragon Tales where these 2 kids, Zach and Emmy, don't quote me on that, but I think so, would have this little egg, shell, dragon egg? It was something rainbow, and they would spin around and hold it and jump into a book that meant and then they would take them to Dragonland or whatever. And I have a very clear memory of making my preschool friends bring in these our favorite picture books, and then we sung the song and jumped on our books, and I broke so many books that way by jumping on them because I thought it would take me to the other world, but I didn't, and that was somewhat disappointing for 4-year-old me. 6. I had an imaginary friend. His name was Moops. I have no idea how I came up with that name, because that's not even a name, and that's not even anything at all. Moops? It's I don't know. And he looked like a cross between Santa Claus and one of the 7 dwarfs from Snow White, the happy one. That's how he dressed, and a Smurf, but he wasn't blue. Do you understand the vein? That was especially weird because I'm Jewish, so I don't know why I had Santa Claus as a friend. But there he was, and in times of trouble, if a girl stole my crayon or something, I would think about Moops, and he would give me advice, fatherly advice, and be you can get through this, Drew. You can do it. I believe you can. And it was very empowering, and I have no idea why. But I sometimes remember him in my, when I'm taking a test, I'm if only Moops could take this test for me. I don't remember ever blaming anything on him, spilling milk, but he still was with me everywhere I went until I turned, I don't know, 7? When does things like that end? I have no idea. 7. Like in Toy Story, I used to think that my stuffed animals would come alive at night and when I wasn't there. And so I remember laying in bed. I would always sleep with 2 stuffed animals, one at my back and one that I can like hold on to. And I would open my eyes really quickly, trying to catch them while moving so that we could play together. But for very obvious reasons, I never could catch them moving. I wonder why my stuffed animals didn't move like they were alive. I wonder. 8. This isn't something I believed, but this is a dream that I remember from when I was 5 years old. So I don't think it's my earliest memory, but like, I don't know. It's definitely up there. I had a dream. This was the night before my first day of day camp ever. And so I was a little bit nervous, and I guess it got into my dream. So I had this dream that I was talking to my mom, and we had a skylight in our apartment. You know, like one of those windows on the ceiling. I don't know why, because I live in an apartment and there's people above me instead of skylight and sky. But anyway, we had a skylight in our apartment. It was like a full moon, and it was very exciting. I was talking to my mom, and she said, "Drew, tonight is the night of the witch and the moon." And I was like, "What?" Because that's not a thing. And she explained to me that the witch in the moon is basically like the man in the moon, except she would cackle. And she would cackle, and when she would cackle, something bad would happen. And so the only way to like counteract her cackling is to cackle louder than her. So, with this in mind, I'm like walking back to my family watching TV, and suddenly the clouds parted from the moon like in a horror movie. And I saw this witch's face, and she was like, I was like, okay, that's strange. And then suddenly, my uncle, I don't know why he was there, started floating up into the sky. And I was like, oh my god. And so the witch started cackling, ha ha ha. And then I started cackling louder because I was trying to counteract it and save my uncle. So I said, ha ha ha. And then we just had a cackling, like a cackle off. And then suddenly, he snapped, and he turned into a red cartoon dog and floated up through the ceiling and then onto the moon, and he landed on her nose and became a zit on her nose. And I remember that like over a decade later. No idea why that stuck in my brain. It's like a weird dream, but it's not that weird. I've had weird dreams. So that's in my head. 9. I used to cook pasta, or I think that I could cook pasta by myself. So I would get a little plastic bowl. First mistake. I would get pasta, put in like warm water, and this would happen in the wintertime. And I'd walk over to my heater and put the plastic bowl on the heater and then stir it, and I would sit there for about 5 minutes waiting for it to like get softer and become pasta, but obviously it wouldn't because it was just hot water, and then it was like tepid water and then a heater under it kind of melting the plastic bowl. And I would sit like stir and stir and stir, and then finally I would take a piece and it would be like slightly soggier. And I would be so excited. I'd be like, I am a professional chef. Bow down to me. 10. One time, little Blue was sick and I had a cold, and so I couldn't really blow from my nose because that's what happens when you get a cold. So my mom gave me cough medicine, and I took it, and obviously knowing cough medicine, it tasted horrible and I thought it was poison. And so I took it. But then I ran to the bathroom and I was gonna like wash my mouth out because it tasted like chemicals and death. And I like stuck my tongue out in the mirror, and I noticed bumps on my tongue, and for the longest time I thought my mom had poisoned me and that she'd caused me to have bumps on my tongue. And so like, years later I was like, oh, remember that time you gave me these? And I'd stuck in my tongue like, ah. She said, Drew, those are your taste buds. Those were there the whole time. I honestly thought that my mom had given me my taste buds. And for like years after that, I was still a little bit wary. I was like, I don't know if I should eat that macaroni and cheese you gave me because you once gave me taste buds. I was kind of a skeptical little child. So that's it for my video of things I believed as a wee little bab. Thank you for watching. I would really appreciate it if you liked, commented, and subscribed somewhere up there. Liking there, you know how YouTube works. Thank you for watching my video, and I will see you again soon.